Hello and welcome to The Way Home, Crossnore Communities for Children's Facebook live show, as well as our podcast. My name is Holly Kessler, and I'm the Senior Director of Community Relations here at Crossnore. Every Tuesday afternoon, we get together with some of our staff or maybe a community partner, and we talk about the work that we do, about the child welfare system, ways that we're engaging in our community, and other really interesting topics. So I hope that you'll join us here each Tuesday. But if you miss our live show, you can always rewatch it on our Facebook feed, and you can find the show on our YouTube channel. The podcast comes out on Fridays on our blog at crossnore.org. So there are plenty of ways to interact with us each week. Today, I have two guests that I'm really excited about. My friend Kelly Holbrooks, who serves as Crossnore's Director of Dietary Services, and Erika Brown, the Dietary Services Coordinator here on our Winston-Salem campus. Kelly and Erika are going to share with us about the importance of nutrition for children in foster care and how nutrition plays a role in our trauma-resilient community. So join me in welcoming Kelly and Erika to the show today. Hello, friends.
Hello.
How are you?
How are y'all?
We're good.
Good. I'm excited to have you guys with me today. I think this is a really interesting topic. I think a lot of times when I'm speaking in places or doing tours, a lot of people ask us about the kids and how we feed them and, that kind of thing. So we'll jump in. But before we do, I'm going to ask each of you to introduce yourselves, tell us about your role at Crossnore, how long you've been here, anything else that you want to share about your life. And Kelly, we'll start with you.
My name is Kelly Holbrooks. I am Director of Dietary Services on both campuses. I have been at Crossnore. This is my 19th year.
Wow.
This is a job that I walk in the door every day and pinch myself and say, what did I do so right to get a job I love so much?
Yeah, that is awesome, Kelly. I can't believe it's been 19 years.
Me either.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, Erika, clearly you're younger than me and Kelly, so you haven't been here 19 years, but tell us about you.
So my name is Erika Brown, and I am the Dietary Services Coordinator on the Winston campus, and I have been here for 5 years.
Has it been 5 years already?
Mm-hmm. It has.
I mean, time really does fly. I'm like flabbergasted at that. That is amazing. Well, you guys do play such an important role here at Crossnore in providing food for the children that live in our cottages and for the staff that take care of them, and even occasionally for other events and stuff that other staff get to take advantage of. Kelly, you have a lot of experience at Crossnore, obviously. So why don't you tell folks what we mean when we say Crossnore is a trauma-informed community? And let's start our discussion there.
Many years ago, Crossnore decided to start a model of care. And by that, it means that we have the model of care called Sanctuary. Mm-hmm. And basically, we're all trained so that from janitorial to dining staff to the guys that do the maintenance and unclog the toilets, we all are trained in the language of a trauma, of a child that's had trauma, mm-hmm. or a family that's had trauma. Mm-hmm. So that when we talk about a child, it's not, well, gosh, we got a bad kid. It's, no, we've got a child with trauma.
Right.
And we know the language of, there's a parallel process going on, or we've got a kid that, something happened and it triggered a memory, and for some reason they're just melting down today. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And all of us speak that language so that it's not part of our staff understands that this child needs some special attention and special grace. But at the same time, we all can look at each other and say the language, and we all know what we're talking about, so that a child doesn't come to the dining hall and feel like they're cut out from the rest of the campus because we do understand.
Yeah, and I think it's so important what you talked about how we train everybody. So it's not just the cottage parents, it's not just therapists, it's not just people in the admin building like me. It's everybody, because you guys get to interact with the kids as they come through the dining hall. And so you need to know, sort of the background of what many of them have experienced and how you can appropriately respond. I know our CEO, Brett, talks a lot of times about how the children react to the lunchroom ladies, right, Kelly? That you guys really see them in a lot of unguarded moments. And you have the opportunity to interact with them in ways that are different than their cottage parent or their therapist or somebody like that. So I think
when kids come in and when children eat, I feel like they're at their most vulnerable. They tend to open up, and I think food is that thing that is that connector for all of us.
Yes, that's great. Well, Kelly, also talk about it from the nutritional standpoint of view. Why is nutrition vital for children who come into the child welfare system? What do we see there in terms of even just their physical needs for nutrition?
I think this is kind of a two-parter. The first part is that we have kids that come to us from probably and possibly malnourished or living off of fast food or not knowing where their next meal is coming from. So we have that element when kids come to us doing an assessment or clinical doing an assessment to find out, does this kid need a special diet? Are they underweight? Do they have special needs? And then the other side of that is our kids, we do most of our food prep and everything from here is done from scratch. We do as little processed and as little additives as possible. And this also helps kids deal with, it takes them off of that, maybe not having maybe they have an allergy to some things and it causes erratic behavior. But a really back to the scratch cooking type diet makes so much effort with the kids in terms of letting their behaviors de-escalate. Yeah,
that's a really good point as well. And Erika, what kind of role do you feel like nutrition plays in creating trauma resilience? Like food is something that we all have to have. And Kelly has, talked about the background that some of the kids we serve come from where food is an issue, either lack of or not nutritious food. How does that nutrition really play into creating some resilience for kids?
So that was one of the things I was going to touch on as well is, food insecurities. A lot of our kids, they do come from that background and they're not having adequate nutritious food. And, one way to help them to overcome that trauma is in order to provide food security. So to provide them with healthy meals, developing healthy relationships with food. Our body is not going to be fueled properly if we're not adding the correct ingredients that it needs. And what we fuel our bodies with and or without can cause a reaction to stress. For example, a lot of sugar, a lot of kids increase their energy. If they're on medications, things like that can definitely affect how resilient they are.
That's really interesting. And I thought what you said too about food insecurity is super interesting as well, because some kids that come into care, maybe because of a lack of food, or I guess even some kids come into care and there've been kind of rules and restrictions around food in their homes. And so we tend not to do that in my experience. Like when kids are hungry, they can eat, right? We want to provide them nutritious choices, but we're not going to restrict it. We're not going to, food is available in plenty here, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is exactly it. That's what the key part of it is just, that they know that they're going to get another meal.
Yeah.
That, they are going to have a snack, and just providing that security for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the things that me and several of our colleagues have just recently done our TBRI training. And in that, we learned about how nutrition plays a role in kids' behaviors, that sometimes a child may be struggling and they're just hungry or they're thirsty. Like those physical needs have to be met before they can really attend to whatever's going on, whether it's school or it's, sitting still in their chair in the lunchroom. Like they need to have those physical needs met.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that is great. One of the questions I get asked a lot when I do tours or I speak with folks is, how do the kids get their meals? Like, do the cottage parents cook meals? Do they go to the dining hall? Like, where does their food come from? And Kelly, it's really a little bit of both, right?
Correct. Monday through Friday, we prepare the meals, breakfast and lunch in the dining hall.
Mm-hmm.
The evening meal is most of the time prepared in the cottage, even though sometimes we do have special nights in the dining hall and the kids come for kind of a social night that they eat together. Mm-hmm. And then on the weekends, the cottages do prepare. They prepare breakfast and lunch in the cottage. And our cottages also get to eat out once a week because we want our children to experience what it's like to go into a restaurant and sit down and eat, and how to feel comfortable doing that. Because some of our kids have never actually gone into a sit-down restaurant and eaten. And we want them, while they're with us, to learn how to be comfortable with that. And learn that, this is how you order and this is how you sit in a booth and enjoy your meal as a family.
Yeah, that's a great life skill to have. And then you mentioned those evening meals that they do in their cottages. So the cottage parents are preparing, and perhaps if they have older kids in the cottage, the kids are helping as well. But that's a family style meal, right? Where, again, they have that opportunity to sit around a table and enjoy a meal as a family.
Correct.
Yeah.
And they also, our older kids get the experience of fixing meals, just like most of us got to do at home, learn how to cook at home. Those evening meals in cottages are important because it allows our older kids to learn how to cook and how to prepare food.
Yeah. Yeah. And Erika, talk about the commissary, because again, people are always really intrigued by this idea of going to the commissary on Tuesdays and picking up the food for the week. So tell us how that commissary works.
So on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we open up our commissary and the cottage parents come in. We have, on Tuesdays, we'll have 2 of their dinner meals ready for them to be picked up. And then they get to shop for fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, any side items that might go with their meals for the evening. And then we do it again on Thursdays, and they get the rest of their meals up to the following Monday. So this allows the cottage parents also some independence to kind of shop for different things, or know, like, a lot of the kids really don't eat this. Maybe I should pick up extra of something else just to supplement the meal. But yeah, and that's also some time for us to spend with the cottage parents. That gives them a little outlet for a few minutes. So yeah, it's nice. Yeah,
I always enjoyed when I worked in residential going into the commissary there in Avery and seeing Autumn every week. So that's a fun part of it. What do you guys, both of you, enjoy most about your job? Erika, we'll start with you.
Definitely the teamwork that I have seen, not just with the people that I work with, but from all departments across the campus. It's it's really inspiring. We do a lot of events, as you've mentioned, and people are just quick to step in. How can I help? What can I do? So that's really, really inspiring.
Yeah. And Kelly, what about you?
I think a big part of what I love about my job is the staff that I've worked with, true, but I've been here long enough. One of my favorite things is getting a card or a letter or a email or a text from a past student that says, you really taught me how to love asparagus. I went so-and-so and they had fresh asparagus and I fixed it the way, you taught me. And I love it. And I've taught my kids to eat it too. I think the thing with me, the part I love about my job most is making a difference in some child's life.
Yeah, that's hilarious. But it is true, what you guys do, I think, especially when kids are helping with the food in the cottages, when you guys are preparing it so well and in tasty and attractive ways, kids then branch out and they'll try things that they haven't tried before. And that's really important to getting them to eat that nutritious food. So what about a story that either or both of you might share about a child that has come through your dining hall or, has learned something about nutrition, or it could be a funny story or whatever. Do you have a story that you would share?
Sure. I'll go first. I don't know if Kelly does. So we actually finally got to open our dining hall this past summer.
Yeah.
It was really exciting. And so we had lunches every day throughout the summer. And initially when the kids were coming through, it almost felt like for them, it was another task. They felt like, well, we're not on summer break. Like, I feel like we have to be here every day. And then after a few days, they slowly started to realize that, it was a positive experience, that they were able to come in and enjoy a nice meal and, spend time with people outside of their cottages. I remember seeing some older and younger siblings that were in separate cottages, and they actually got to eat lunch together every day. So it was really, really awesome. So we were really excited to see that over the summer.
Yeah, that's exciting. And so y'all did that because here in Winston, the kids go to public school. So they're eating their lunches in the public school. And then Kelly and Avery, where you spend most of your time with our charter school there, Williams Academy, then you're serving lunch every day for those kids. Yeah. So tell us, do you have a story that you would share, Kelly? You've been around a long time.
This is a story from many years ago, talking about our students who come with major food insecurities. One day at lunch, we had 2 intakes, and it was a brother and a sister. She was about 3 years younger, and he was about 9 years old, and his name was Tyler. And he came in, and we had baked chicken that day, and he ate a few bites of his, and he said, "Oh, I'm so full, I can't eat another bite." And he looked at the little sister and he said, "Here, you can have it if you want." And she immediately inhaled his food. And I said, "Well, guys, you can have seconds." And Tyler was like, "Oh, really? I'm not full." And he ate. And every day he would come in at breakfast and at lunch, and you'd say, "Good morning, Tyler," or, "Hey, Tyler, what can I get you?" And he'd say, "I'll have the usual." And the usual is everything you got. And he would take everything off the line.
Wow.
And he would eat every bite. And then about 3-4 months in, he realized that there was going to be breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And one day he came in and I said, "Hey, Tyler, what can I get you?" And he said, "Miss Kelly, I have decided to tell you, I don't like Brussels sprouts, so I won't take everything today."
Well, I'm with Tyler. I don't really like Brussels sprouts either, but that is so precious, because what I immediately thought of when you're talking about that first meal and he took a few bites and decided he was full was he wanted to make sure his sister had plenty.
He did.
Yeah.
He wanted to make sure it was a situation where they had not had food.
Right.
But for him to reach a point that he no longer felt like he had to eat everything just because he didn't think there would be another meal, it made you feel like we've succeeded. He knows that food is there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you guys do such an amazing job. We really didn't even touch on, some of the work that you guys do with our external relations team when we have events, and y'all do some catering for us in-house. And so if any of our listeners ever have the opportunity to come to a Crossnore event, you'll get to experience Miss Kelly and Miss Erika's food, which they do an amazing job with. But really, the most important thing is the job that you guys are doing with our kids. And I just want to say to you how much we really appreciate that. Appreciate what we've learned from you guys today around nutrition, and just appreciate the way you guys are helping us to build this trauma resilient community. So thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you
for having us.
Absolutely. Well, friends and listeners, as I have thanked Kelly and Erika for being with us today, let me also say thanks to each of you who are watching or listening. We appreciate the opportunity to share with you about Crossnore. For more information, please visit our website at crossnore.org or follow us on our social media channels at Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. That's it for today, but I hope you will join us again next week right here on The Way Home.